Like the Real Housewives of Max Verstappen up in here.
Checo's checked out.
Joe Guanyu is off the track. That steak is cooked.
A lot, I gotta say, a lot is at stake for Steak F1.
Man, even the broadcast couldn't handle that stat.
My heart almost was screaming like, how can anybody be a Lewis Hamilton fan?
No.
Not on my 2024 bingo card.
Yeah, we're gonna have to create a new one now.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Lights Out Latest. My name is Marina, and here is Steven, Tristan, and Jason. And I don't even want to say it was a good race weekend because it was truthfully very boring.
It was a great race weekend. I don't know what the heck you're talking about.
But
The McLaren fan.
yeah, coming
Okay,
from
future Ferrari driver Lewis Hamilton.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's true.
But it was a very news-heavy race weekend last week, whatever you want to call it. Let's start with Haas because this situation blows my mind. What do you guys think?
There's so many layers to this. It's ridiculous at this point. I mean, at first it sounded like they weren't going to even be able to race this race. And then, they paid it and everything was going to be fine. They raced, all that good stuff. And then it sounds like there might not be leaving Zandvoort. So
Yeah, they're waiting to
I
make
don't know
sure
what's
that the payment cleared. What I heard is like Yurakalai, the Russian Nikita Mazepin, basically was like, "Oh, we had a deal for more than a year, and we want to be compensated for our logos being taken off the car." And Haas was like, "Well, no," until now, where they're able to get a Dutch court to file the case, and they were gonna have to impound the cars, or Haas would have to pay back the money for that extra contract year to like buy out from Yurakalai. So they're like waiting to verify the funds left Gene Haas and is given to the oligarchy. Like,
It's interesting to me because, like, obviously Earl Colley, or however you say it, has definitely scoped them out and waited for the exact moment to strike because their lawyers must have been like, okay, there's a gap in Dutch law for us. Like, as soon as they touch down, we're hitting them with this. Because I'm surprised the West hasn't not supported Haas, but like they should be in a way because obviously they don't want to support Russia in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So I guess credit to Earl Colley, they found a loophole and they got the Dutch government on their side, and
probably some sanction loophole with the Netherlands specifically.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think that there's probably an element of not just Haas saying, no, you paid us this money, it's our money, and we're not going to give it back to you, but also an element of they don't want to be sanctioned themselves because they can't just send money to Russia. Because like you said, it's basically it's a Russian company, and there's a lot of economic sanctions still placed on Russia. So it's not like you can move that kind of money. From what I was reading, it was like 12 million euros. You can't move that kind of money to Russia without getting flagged. You can't move any money to Russia without getting flagged right now. So I think that's part of it. There was a lot of people saying, even I mentioned it in my Fun Fact Friday. Check out our Instagram, but that this could be something where Andretti could step in if they don't, because it almost seemed like Haas didn't have the money. By the way, the media portrayed it, Haas didn't have the money to pay them, and so this is going to be a whole big deal because they're going to be stuck in Zandvoort because they can't pay the money. But they had the money apparently. They just either didn't want to pay it or couldn't pay it. But I guess with the, like you said, Dutch loopholes in the economic sanctions for Russia, finally able to pay.
I'm fully willing to bet that they definitely have the money, obviously, but it was just they knew they could get away with it. Like they knew as long as they must have missed something in the loopholes. They're like, well, none of these countries are going to support a Russian company coming in and saying, hey, impound their cars. It's like, why should we? But apparently, again, they just found a way to get the Dutch government on their side, and now Haas is stuck between a rock and a hard place, and they got to pay this deal. So,
Nothing's ever easy when it comes to Haas.
Yeah, you think after Gunther left, everything would be a little bit more chill, but obviously
no.
At least they're doing well. They're doing a lot better than Williams. Like Williams and Haas, everybody expected them to be reversed. Haas totally bad, and Williams like so far ahead. And now it's almost flipped. Like Williams is, Low Gang is not looking too good right now.
Well,
he might
I actually have a question on
but...
that then for the panel here. What would you rather, if you were a driver in F1, who would you rather drive through right now, Haas or Williams? For me, I think I would go Williams.
I would go Haas.
Williams.
Really?
For next year,
I like
it
Haas
would be...
seems like a more like down, like I don't know. I feel like being under the Mercedes bubble seems like annoying, too corporate almost. But like I don't know. I also like the idea of being under the Ferrari bubble, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
For me, it's more that I have very little faith in Haas as an organization.
Same.
It's not just this, but they've had money problems all around for a long time. I also not that, because it's obviously, if you're asking if it was us as we're the drivers, but also I don't have that much faith in Kevin Magnussen. A lot of faith in Nico Hulkenberg, but not that much faith in Kevin Magnussen. So I for sure, if I was in that situation, would pick Haas. But I think it's interesting.
I
Well,
think
we just saw it play out with Sainz. Sainz chose Williams when all the seats are open.
Exactly.
So obviously he believes in the future of Williams and not in the future of Audi and Haas, which we'll get to Audi. But
I feel like I just don't trust what Mercedes is doing with Williams. Like, I feel like there's a better disconnect with Haas and Ferrari, where Haas is more independent and like not like annexed almost, but like they're like independent from Ferrari. But Ferrari sees them as not like a sister team, but they're a workshop team. They're like in the kind of bubble. Whereas Williams is like fully kind of almost the same way RB is with Red Bull. Like they're like under that bubble. And if Mercedes doesn't have the time or the energy to really boost up that program, then I feel like it's just a suffer fest. Like you're just going to sit in a car that kind of putt-putts around, which is what I feel like is what they're doing now. So,
That's fair.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's more of an affiliation because I think Haas and Ferrari, like you said, are very distinct. They're different teams, different ownership, everything's different, and it's just parts that they get from Ferrari. Whereas I think the Williams Mercedes link is so much stronger, to the point where Mercedes even has a say, kind of, as Red Bull has a say over the RB side of the garage and what the RB, like who's going to be driving that car next year. Red Bull has a say. Mercedes also has a say in who's going to be in that Williams seat. Likely part of the reason Sainz is there. They have that connection. If he doesn't fully believe in James Vowles and the Williams project, he may believe in the Mercedes project, and going there sometime, who knows?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I just think Williams at the end of the day is more proven than Haas is. I think it's a more proven system.
Yeah, they're definitely overhauling. Everything I'm hearing from James Vowles is super impressive of how he's overhauling the team. Like 5 years from now, I definitely see them ahead of Haas. But right now, obviously, Haas is the place to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you mentioned Audi. I want to talk about that second seat because we've known for a long time that it was Nico Hulkenberg. A lot of rumors of Carlos Sainz going there. Now I have literally no idea who's going there. There's so many options. I've heard Felipe Drukovic. I've heard Gabriel Bortoleto. Great driver. Love him.
Theo Pourchaire.
Valtteri Rougeau. I've heard Theo Pourchaire. I've heard Robert Schwartzman.
Alex Palou.
Who would you be? Who your number one? Who, like, not in terms of who you want there, but who you think is most likely to be there next year?
Who I'd want to be there is Alex Palou.
I was going to say, I would love to see Alex
That would be the fun answer.
I want to see an IndyCar guy take that jump and succeed. Like, I think we all, at least me, Jason, Steven, I don't know. I would love to see that happen. But, I don't know. Realistically, I don't know. Maybe Felipe is like the main choice to me, potentially, or Gabriel Bortoleto as well.
Yeah. Some F2 guy, like Valtteri's always, he's there, but they already have their veteran driver. Like, you would think they would want another younger driver. We haven't heard Mick Schumacher. I don't think that's happening. He still sticks around the garage, though. He, like, he's Toto's travel buddy right now.
He's a roadie.
Super interesting. I heard this I guess I heard this from my grandma, so maybe don't take this with a grain of salt, because she's...
Trusted source.
Trusted source.
100%. She heard that Mick Schumacher found out about Jack Doohan's deal on social media, that he was not told beforehand. That is what Brazilian media has put out there, supposedly, that Mick didn't even know. Mick is, linked with Alpine. He's in their endurance car, but he had no idea Jack Doohan was going to Alpine until after the contract broke on social media, apparently.
Yeah.
Not surprised with Alpine.
I don't know. I don't think Mick is privy to that information. I don't know. It sounds like, obviously he's a part of their team. I know he was doing the WEC stuff, but like, I don't know. I just don't think he's privy to that. I'm not totally surprised if that's the way he found out.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. He's not like
Maybe he wasn't even in the running. He might have not
I'm,
been.
I'm agreeing with that. I don't think he was in the running.
Do you
Maybe
think
it's-
for the Audi seat, given that he's German? Do you think that helps him at all, or do you think they have
Definitely.
they
It
It
have
might
probably
their
help
does.
him marmarginally. I
But
don't
how
know
many
because they
people have
got
been
Also
rumored? I've heard
legacy too,
everybody
but-
from Vettel to Mick and to Alex Palou been rumored for that seat. Like nobody knows.
Yeah,
Zhou is probably
Yeah.
gone. Bottas might be gone, which is upsetting. But
I would.
Yeah.
My most realistic prediction would be that they hire Bottas for another year, keep him in for 25, and bring Gabriel Bortoleto for 26 with Audi.
yes,
That would be my ideal and my most realistic. As a Brazilian, I want to see that Brazilian in Formula One. I know when I was in Brazil, I spoke to Brazilians, and people just saying we're not watching F1, we're not consuming F1 as much as we used to because there's no Brazilian, so there's no market for it anymore. So I think it's another country that you're trying to reach, just like Williams was trying to reach with Logan Sargent being an American and trying to get those fans. So I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah,
I think
it's
we need a
tough.
Brazilian on the grid fully.
Yeah, bring back the
100%.
Ayrton Senna vibes.
call back Massa,
No, not Massa.
Felipe. Fernando's faster than you.
Give him the championship he's owed.
Yes,
Yes.
that I agree with, but only because well, there's a lot of things that play into that, but also Lewis Hamilton, whose race engineer Bono is not going to Ferrari like everybody speculated, is indeed staying at Mercedes. So
Makes sense to me. I mean, obviously, speculation insists that he would have went to Ferrari. I just think fundamentally, at the end of the day, he's a Mercedes race engineer. Ferrari has their own system, has their own people. I mean, yeah, a 7-time champion comes over. You want his people. Like, he's going to want some people to come with him. But
Yeah,
Ferrari has a guy. I mean, it's just how it goes. It's business. He's going to stay with the company that he knows. I mean, it makes sense to me.
You know, Tom Brady didn't bring Bill with him, so
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
sure. Well, that was going to be exactly my point. I mean, the whole point of Lewis is doing this is to, try something new. And, I'm sure he doesn't want to. I mean, we all hear.
He wants to
like,
do some. He wants to do a little winning in red, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Twice this year, Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, already, 50% of the last 4 races where Lewis Hamilton went.
True.
that's such a stupid stat.
That's an ESPN stat. Yeah, when they're digging like for the third stringer starting on the O line for some stats, they're like, this guy
That's an
drank
Amazon
the
Next Gen
most
stat right
Gatorade
there.
while sitting on the bench out of any player. Like that would
Oh
be
my
the stat they would
gosh.
show up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think also it could have been, maybe Bono even wanted to go to Ferrari, but I think there's these contracts for these people that we know so well, these engineers like Bono, like GP, that gardening leave is probably somewhere between 1.5 and 2 years.
I agree. Yeah.
His age, not that he's super old or anything, but like it's not something you want to sit out 2 years. Formula One moves fast, and if you're out for 2 years, who's to say 2 years later you're gonna get hired?
And
Yeah.
Lewis would have to do a year of change, like a year of change and a year
Yeah.
back of change.
At that point, you wouldn't even
it'd
want
be
to
too
go
much.
back.
Yeah,
True.
it'd be 2 big changes
Yeah,
spread out
And
over 2 or 3 years.
I think that's the biggest thing for Lewis. I just think again, he just wants to go to something new. I just think back to all the radio we hear with Bono, the Mercedes radio chatter there. It just doesn't sound fun, and I'm sure Lewis is at the point where he's like, "Yeah, I just want to start fresh at this point. Start with a new whiteboard."
I need an Italian saying it's hammer time. I need the accent.
It's
Yes.
hammer time.
That was pretty good. I liked
Well,
that.
thank you.
It almost
Keep the
sounded
Italian
like
flag, by the way.
Austrian or something.
Yeah.
It sounded like Arnold a little bit.
Italian time.
Oh my god.
Speaking of something new, new news also. Jack Doohan confirmed for Alpine. Thoughts?
Cool.
We
Good for
covered
him.
this a little.
Pretty
Mick,
neat.
I didn't expect Mick to be there. I don't know who else would be there. At least Alpine kept their driver unlike last time, so.
Yeah. They said this on the broadcast and it just clicked like when they said it. I hadn't thought of it before. If Danny Rick keeps his seat and we can get Liam Lawson, which is another piece of news, Helmut Marko saying next year he'll be sitting in one of our cars. Speaking of Liam Lawson. So if we have Jack doing confirmed. If Daniel can keep a seat, if Liam gets a seat, you got Oscar. That's 4 Australians on the grid for a population of, I want to say they said it was like 26 million people. That's insane representation.
But yeah, Crofty pulled out the stats on that one. That is insane.
Yeah.
Those Aussies, man. I mean,
Racing
I guess they
culture.
get to rip it around in the backlands over there.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
they
I
get
will
to
say-
grow up
Finland,
tough.
Finland was up there for a little while. You had 2 Finnish drivers on the grid for even smaller population, but
Yep.
It's crazy how it's literally. I mean, of course, if we're talking about history here, I think we have British and we have Australian. Australian, you could kind of say, is an extension of Britain. So it's like we have almost an entirely British grid at this point,
Yeah.
or could have.
Almost
Rule
entirely
Britannia.
European grid for sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
nothing
Yeah.
So
We got a handful of Europe or not Asians. We got a handful of Asians.
yeah. But
Might be one last, but we don't got to talk about that.
That's true.
yeah, that's a little sad. I remember Joe saying a couple races ago that he would be okay with the reserve driver role, and when I heard him say that, I was already like, okay, he's not in the running for that's for
No,
sure.
yeah,
there's
no
no
driver
way.
would
Yeah.
ever say
No.
that.
No driver should ever say that.
No.
Unless you're not in F1, there's no way you would say that.
Yeah.
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 Can we talk about Helmut Marko continuously saying a bunch of things that we want to hear? Because I
I
feel
like
like a
the man.
publicist.
He's like a leaker. Like
If
those
I
type
was-
of journalists that always say confidential sources. Marco is the public source. He's not even confidential.
He's the opposite.
Yeah.
He wants you to quote him.
he wants you to quote. That's exactly. I was like, if
Mhm.
it was Red Bull, I would have fired him so long ago.
I would gag
Yeah.
him, but he probably said no.
I mean, it's funny though, because I mean, I think it helps Red Bull's brand in a way.
It helps
'cause
the
I think-
media.
Yeah, well, I think you
Like
look
us.
at it, it's
like it
it's
helps us. It helps us directly.
Yeah, you look at it as like a fan standpoint, and you're like, yeah, Dr. Helmut Marko, he's like the cool grandpa in F1. He doesn't
Yeah.
really have a job. I mean, he does, but
He just
We
leaks
can't-
stuff.
we
He
just
just
kind of
goes
think
through
of,
Horner's files and starts throwing
Yeah.
them out.
He's
Yeah.
just WikiLeaks, which is for F1.
He
I
is
just
WikiLeaks.
imagine the guy just sitting in a recliner watching TV, just like, that guy sucks.
No,
You
he
know?
would see something weird happen, call up Horner and be like, "What's going on?" All right, and then he would turn around to a journalist and be like, "This is what's happening."
Yeah, he's
Like that
he's
guy.
sitting in his room watching TV with a bunch of reporters around, like, write that down.
Is Helmut
Literally.
Marko employed by Red Bull Racing? Is he not employed by Red Bull, the company, as a consultant?
Yes, and that's why
Oh.
Horner has no power over him. You're right,
Yeah,
Marina. That's a great point.
They're almost like the same. Like,
That's
obviously,
funny.
he's a team, like, Christian's a team principal, but in terms of ranking, Christian has no, that I know of, has no ranking over Helmut Marko because he's not employed by Christian Horner.
Technically,
No,
Marco's above him, which is
Yeah,
weird.
Marco's the director of the team. Like, he's director of the F1 team. So,
Yeah.
The more you
I don't
know.
know. He
He's
is
also
the
Max
head of their driver
Verstappen's
development, so I wouldn't be
professional best
surprised
friend.
if he's like spot on.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well,
I-
that was crazy.
So tired of Checo. Like, Checo's gone. The question is it going to be Max and Daniel and Liam and Yuki, or is it going to be Max and Liam and Yuki and Daniel? Because I also don't see Yuki going to Red Bull.
No.
Yeah.
Out of those 3, Yuki probably deserves it the most.
But Daniel's gonna go.
Yeah.
Can I tell you the rumor that
Go
I've
for
heard about Lawson? So apparently Logan is done after like blowing up the car again, and they're trying to work out a deal to get Lawson in the Williams to get him ready for next year. Now, why would Lawson want to be in the Williams? Well, because they want him to get the experience because they're going to move on the drivers next year. Like Perez is gone,
Yeah.
so I wonder if that'll happen. Apparently, as soon as Italian GP, they might get Lawson in the Williams, but you know F1 speculation how it is.
Yeah,
But
F1 rumors, F1 Twitter, even Helmut Marko. We got some pretty crazy rumors going.
Can we just have an Helmut Marko app? Like, can we just make that a thing? Just
That
like,
is-
Just let him just like on his own app, just say whatever
Yeah,
he wants.
well,
kinda
you know,
thing.
I
like-
wish he was on Twitter and he would just tweet all this stuff
yeah.
like rampantly.
Well, I just imagine it like, you know how Donald Trump has his own social media? Like Helmut Marko
Yeah,
has his own
Like
social
that.
media.
That's what he needs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Literally.
Helmut Marko is the Donald Trump of F1.
Yes, he
Yeah.
just keeps ranting.
Yeah.
Could
Oh
be.
yeah.
but he doesn't lie. He like it's never embellished. It's always him saying, "I like him. I don't like him." He never hides anything.
No,
Like
Mhm.
he's so
Mhm.
direct. It's
I
crazy.
would say it's no BS, but a lot of times it's a lot of BS. It's
Well, it's because he hasn't
Accurate.
decided yet. He's like, today Perez is doing kind of crap, but you know how that is. And then he'll walk away.
It just depends on what side of the bed he wakes up on every day. You know.
Yeah.
Literally.
No, for real. All right. Anyways, let's get into the weekend. I want to start with Logan because we just talked about Logan. His car went kaboom,
It
went
did go
explode.
kaboom.
and then he didn't take part in qualifying, which was quite sad for him. His teammate, however, did take part in qualifying, qualified P8, and then had his floor inspected. It was illegal. So
I was gonna say, I mean, God forbid Logan Sargent actually did qualify. Would it have mattered? I mean, that car's coming in 19th or 20th, no matter what.
Poor
It's a
guy.
curse.
18th because the Audis or Saubers were horrible.
That's also true. Yeah.
They were virtually
Yeah.
F cars. I mean, this is kind of foreshadowing from the race, but like they were 2 laps down.
Yep.
I don't know if
That's
anybody
just incredible.
the system glitched. The F1 broadcast glitched where when Max crossed the line, it said it had a
Whoa. You mean Lando crossed the line?
okay, when Lando crossed the line and then Max
Thank you.
in between Lando and Max was Valtteri and Joe and a couple other drivers. So it had the little flag and it like accidentally put Valtteri P2.
Yeah.
He wishes. This ain't
He wished.
2021 anymore.
All part of the master plan. The Sauber teams want us to forget math.
I know we talk about it, like, Sauber is a definition of a bridge team, it feels like, since Audi's coming in literally next year, or I guess you'd say 2 years, but yeah, it almost feels like at this point, it's like, are they going to make it? 2 years?
They have the money. The crypto
Like-
gambling money is still flowing, but the
Yeah.
management is a mess. Like
Oh, yeah.
Bonato and who is it? Not Seidel, Stella, who was both worked with
No,
Sainz at-
Seidel.
It is Seidel. Stella's still at
Stella's at
Stella's
McLaren.
at McLaren.
Yeah, there you go.
Both of them are Andreas, so I couldn't say Andreas.
Yeah.
I messed up the S names. Anyways, they couldn't convince Sainz. I said this last week to come over to their new team, which is crazy. Like 2 guys he already worked with at a high level at 2 different teams at this new manufacturer-backed team still couldn't convince him to come.
It shows you
He
how
went to
confidence.
Williams.
It so shows you how much confidence Carlos Sainz has in the leading abilities of Mattia Binotto and Andrea Seidel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And Audi
Hey,
brand.
after Seidel left and after Bonato left, Ferrari and McLaren did a little bit more winning. So
Yeah.
actually,
And
that's a lie with Bonato.
even
Bonato
tell
was
you-
there for so long. Like
I couldn't even tell you what the management looks like at Audi. Like, if you think of like McLaren, I could name you several top guys. Same with Ferrari, same with Red Bull, same with Mercedes, same with Haas. With everyone, you know the guys, you know the names. I bet you 5 out of 10 F1 fans couldn't even tell you who the Audi team principal is.
Yeah.
No.
No.
I'm sitting here like dumbfounded because I have no clue. So, I mean,
they don't even really have one right now. It's like a placeholder guy. They said he's the team representative to the FIA. He's not even the team principal. I forget his name.
That's what I'm saying. So, like,
Yeah. They don't really have one right now. I mean, it is Seidel now,
abilities at the moment.
right?
I might be. I couldn't even tell you with 100% confidence.
no.
So it just
They
goes
don't
to
know. We don't know. Nobody knows.
we don't know. They don't know.
Exactly.
Like,
Bottas just shows up and drives and hope he doesn't crash. That's it.
Ignorance
It's
is
just-
bliss.
Yeah.
ignorant.
I just
He
race
doesn't know
here,
who
bud.
signs his paycheck. It just probably the intern
So,
in
Jason, are you
finance.
just going to completely ignore Carlos Sainz's horrific qualifying?
Only a little bit. I'm
No,
no.
Only a little bit.
Why?
Because
Where was it
Ferrari-
again?
And now you're wearing a Williams
Yeah.
shirt. So
He qualified P10, but to be fair, I think
Yeah.
he's allowed to ignore it because he made up for it in the race.
he
He
did.
did. Ferrari had an incredible race. They went, what was it, like P10 and P6 to 3 and 5? Incredible race pace. Like Leclerc was. I thought he was going to catch Verstappen for second for a little bit. I was getting happy. Anyway, another trophy in the
And you're
cabinet.
so
That's
smart, boy.
that's good. Hey.
Oh my gosh. I can't.
Anyways,
Anyways,
Lance Stroll.
Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll didn't suck either, but he definitely didn't have a great race.
Man, the
Definition
podium,
of meh.
multi-time podium finisher and pole sitter had a pretty decent race.
Yeah, he definitely. I mean, he qualified what, P9, P8. So
Yeah.
qualified P9,
Yep.
started P8. So it's not a horrible performance from him, but his teammate got points or a point. So
Yeah, I mean, they both fell off based off of where they started from, so I guess you can't blame them too hard. Because,
Yeah.
again, I think, Fernando started 7th and finished 10th, and Lance started 8th, and he lost more positions, but I don't know. It's just that
Yeah.
Aston Martin team is just strange right now. I don't know how to. I just don't know how to feel about them.
Rumors are Nui is going there.
Oh yeah.
I don't.
it's the only
And he
thing
has a relationship with Aston Martin.
Oh yeah, we talked about
Yeah.
that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
yeah.
We'll see.
It wouldn't be it's not like it wouldn't be a shock to anyone, but I have this feeling that he's going to Williams.
Williams.
That's crazy.
Back to the homeland.
Back to his roots, or a new challenge at Ferrari, maybe. I don't know.
I don't
Oh,
see
don't
it.
say that.
I heard Ferrari's already turned him down, and
Ferrari
mostly,
turned
yeah,
Adrian Newey down.
yeah, because Vasseur has his own system, and
I'm dumbfounded.
Newey wanted all the control. That's why he left Williams, is because he had no control. That's why he left McLaren, because he lost control. They redid the management structure to give him less control. This is from Mark Presley. He was a race mechanic at McLaren. He wrote a book. He talked about that. So I'm not just asking Grandma for these. And then also at Red Bull,
Damn, shots fired.
No, I'm not on you, on the source.
Your shots
Anyways,
fired.
at Red
Wow.
Bull, he has complete autonomy. He can do
My
whatever. Oh
grandpa
no.
was always in the paddock, just not in this decade.
Okay. No, I believe you. That's fine. Just it's not.
You don't
this
mess with
decade
you don't
right
mess
now.
with Mama Contreras like that, Jason. Come
You
on.
don't. You don't.
I'm gonna have to write an apology, otherwise I'm gonna have Brazilian voodoo over me or something.
You don't want that.
Anyway,
Nobody wants that.
the point being is that Newey would have wanted all the control, like he does at Red Bull, and Vasseur already has his own system. He doesn't want Newey walking in for 2 years, totally changing everything, and then leaving. What position would that put Ferrari in? Not good. So
Yeah,
it makes
exactly.
sense.
Well, I mean, their strategy.
I'm
right
not just
now
coping
sucks.
here.
I
This
mean,
makes sense here.
whatever floats your boat, Mr. Delusional.
Man, I'm floating high on these delusions, man.
Lulu for Lulu. Anyways, now the pressure's on Steven. Steven, what's with Lando Norris's starts?
I couldn't tell you.
Verstappen
don't know.
always had horrible starts in the Honda days. I mean, they still have Honda, but 2019, 2020, terrible starts. So you could still win a championship and have a bad start.
Yeah, but in order for Lando to win the championship, he'd have to win every race post summer break, and Max would have to finish lower than second.
You're actually like that.
Yeah, but
That's
that's like
impossible.
insinuating. Yeah. What if Max finishes, God forbid, 8th in a race and Lando
gonna
wins?
happen.
Let's say it's the next race. Let's say next week.
You never know, Marina. You never
Max
know.
finishes 8th and Lando wins. That gap is very close then. That's all it
Mhm.
takes. The man's already DNF'd once this year. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's making a habit out of it.
he doesn't. He's a
I'm
hell
not
of a race car driver.
I'm not
but
thinking. I'm not gonna say it's his. It would be his fault. either.
It's Lando's fight to lose. Max is fine.
So,
It's Lando. Lando needs to mess up one time.
Yeah.
God forbid, it could be flip flop too. If Lando DNFs a race and then Max wins, then it's pretty much wrap there. I mean,
yeah.
Here's something I'll bring up too. You know what's crazy? I saw this recently. This was the first driver on pole to win the race since Monaco.
Wow.
wow.
I wonder
Wow.
who won that race.
I like that. That's awesome to hear.
He's
Yeah.
also the last guy since Verstappen, who's won in Zandvoort since ¡85. So
Okay, it was 2 races. Let's relax.
3.
3. Okay.
But okay. I'm okay with I'm happy for Lando as a Red Bull, as a Max fan. I'm happy for Lando. I don't mind him winning by 20 seconds. I think he earned it. I think McLaren, more importantly, earned it. They've worked really hard. They put a lot into that car. They were nowhere. 2 years ago? They were nowhere. They're back of the grid. I watched them in Bahrain stop Lando 4 times in the pits, use it as a test session, and now they're leading races by 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Happy for it. But if this man ever says "Simply Lovely" that on the radio again,
No, we need that. We need that.
That was a beautiful thing. I'm sorry.
On this podcast, but we need rivalry.
That's just some great sports banter right there.
Oh yeah,
that's what that is. That's a beautiful thing.
That's foul.
Nah. Come on.
That means war.
Nah. This is just some friendly punches, you know. Nothing too crazy.
It's like if Ohio State came to town at Beaver Stadium and they got enough noise to make their chants over us. That's what it kind of felt like.
But if their chants were "We are Ohio State," that would be devastating.
That would be awful.
Yeah.
I will say,
I understand Marina's pain a little bit more now. So
100%.
Thanks for the comparison, Tristan.
Yeah.
I will say, if we're gonna stay on topic in terms of the championship battle, constructors battle, it's down to 30 points now.
That's not even a question.
McLaren might lock it up.
There's no way in hell Red Bull wins this championship. It's
impossible. Steven is right. Steven's beginning of year prediction was so bold, and it might work. They're gonna win McLaren.
One of my beginning of the year predictions was, I think I said Red Bull and Ferrari were 1-2 in constructors. I was like, that is not going to change the rest of the year. And it has changed. I mean, quite a while ago it changed, but
Well, McLaren, first couple races they weren't that quick. They were quick, but they weren't championship contenders. And nobody
Ferrari were clear too behind Red Bull. Yeah.
Championship contender for several races. I mean, I know it's been, and I'm one to talk, right? But it's been several races that we haven't seen Max win, and then we've seen all these different race winners.
Nope.
That Max wants, though. If Max can't win, he wants a bunch of different people to win, right? He wants Lewis to take the win, and then Russell, and then Sainz, and then Lando, and then Piastri, and then even if Lando wins a couple, is Lando capable of winning the rest of the 9 races that we have? Yes. But Lewis is just as capable of winning at least one of those races. So is Oscar. So is Charles and Carlos. They're all capable of winning. Max, they're all capable of winning. So that's what makes it so difficult for Lando to win this championship.
I think Lando has one of the aces in the hole. Yeah, I think Lando has an ace in the hole in Oscar, which is Oscar is just as fast and just as capable as Lando. Yeah. So if it came down to it, nuts and bolts, and they had to do kind of like a Hamilton move with Valtteri, and they're like, Valtteri, it's James, and they have to switch, he has that ace in the hole, because currently I would argue the third best driver on the grid is Oscar. I mean, it's a tough battle between him and Leclerc right now. I think Leclerc is incredible as well, but I think Lando and McLaren having that great duo right now only works in favor of Lando.
Yeah. Well, and I would say too, with the thing with Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz and Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, all those things those teams have in common in those drivers is inconsistency, and I think that's what McLaren has on everyone right now. I think they're consistently fast every weekend, and you and me and Marina, of course, were watching the race, and it did feel like at times McLaren was trying to ruin it for themselves with those radio calls, but as long as they can keep that to a minimum, they'll be okay.
Radio calls are so terrible. They're literally asking him, and the thing that makes me laugh is that at the end of every message, the last thing to say is happy. Are you happy with that? We're running this by you. Are you happy with that?
Just make the call.
Mercedes made 2 very crappy decisions, in my opinion. I mean, Lewis's was less bad, but Russell should not have been pitted for softs. But at least they took a decision themselves, and they can own up to that. every time McLaren has an uncertainty of any sort,
Mhm.
pulling onto their drivers, and Ferrari did the same thing, and look where they're at. So
Yep.
Yep.
no,
2020 was the worst of it. Vettel was calling strategy from the cockpit. Leclerc was too. Like
Yeah.
Spanish Grand Prix 2020, nightmare. I remember that.
yeah.
That was bad.
So
Oh, yeah.
it's so tough. And also, I remember us talking about how many hypotheticals it was. It was a message. It was like, if there were to be a safety car, and if we were to pit you with about 10 laps to go, and if Max were to stay out, would you be happy with overtaking him on track for the win on like super old hard tires and you on new softs? It's like, how many hypotheticals can you put in one situation? First of all, there was no safety car, and I mean there could have been, but there was. That's the first hypothetical. Hypothetically, you're pitting. Hypothetically, Max is not pitting. And hypothetically, you're able to then overtake Max when hypothetically the safety car comes in if it's too close to the end. Like, what was
Hypothetically.
the
I'm a little bit surprised they didn't have this figured out. Like usually you'd think strategists would be like, all right, if we're in this position on this lap, we're gonna definitely pit or not pit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they're able to gauge that off of the driver's feeling. It wasn't even like it was a weird place. Like they definitely predicted 1, 2, or 3 for Norris, and they probably would have had their strategy based on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
Well,
anyways, they're learning the ways of winning
Yeah.
right
They're
now.
learning
So
how to
Oh, yeah.
win.
Oh yeah, I think going off of that, I think they're just simply trying to do too much on the radio. I think they're trying to keep their drivers happy, keep everyone happy, and you just can't do that. It's just not possible.
they should just
So, I mean-
throw Zach Brown on the radio to be like, this radio message bought by National Hot Dogs. Lando, you're getting pit in 2 laps. Like they need him to do something like that. Like just tell him.
Yeah.
That would be so funny. That's
Mhm.
hilarious.
The day that radio cars become sponsored is the day that the world ends.
These drivers can't talk to each other. Because I think, honestly, that'd be
Yeah.
for radio ads.
Didn't NASCAR do that once?
Yep.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They used to do it at the super speedways when they were drafting with one another, so the drivers could communicate and say, "Hey, I'm gonna go with you this run. Like, here, I'm Kyle Busch. I'm with you. Are you with me?" It's like, yeah, it was pretty cool.
We gotta
That's
get
very cool.
proximity chat in F1. We gotta get that. We gotta make that happen.
Work, though, because in theory, that sounds great. But in reality, I'm sure they would just cuss each other out.
Well, the NASCAR deal was very particular because it was in an era of NASCAR where tandem drafting was a thing, where literally on the super speedways, you and a partner pretend my hands are 2 cars, right? You're like this, and you are nose to tail as a partner going around. Right now, they kind of do the train. They run like big long lines at the super speedways. They just raced at Daytona this week. But if they went back to tandem, they would probably bring back that system because you need to be able to talk to the guy who's right behind you the whole time, you know?
Yeah.
Because one of the big reasons is they would have to do the switch, because when the car is right in front of them nose to tail, the radiator's not getting any air into it, so it's unable to cool down the motor. So the rear car would overheat, but he would know based off his temperatures, like, all right, I need to switch. They get out of line, they go like this, and they switch right around, just like that.
Oh,
Sorry, I nerded out there for a second. But
No, that's good
it is
stuff.
possible.
Cool.
They have done it before. It would be funny as hell if Formula One had proximity chat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, who do you think would be like the worst, like the biggest goober when it came to that? Like somebody on like the radio.
Oh, it could be like K-Mag or something.
I think Lando because he
definitely
streams
Lando.
so much.
Lando would tell Max himself, "Simply lovely," right, Max?
That would be amazing.
Max punts him after the checkered flag.
I think George Russell would also be kind of
Ocon
funny.
would be a menace.
Yeah. George
Yeah.
would just be like, "Hey, I saw you do that. Get back here. No, you're not getting away with this. Stop it."
I'm projected to overtake you. Prepare. That's what George would say.
Prepare. Prepare.
I see your tires are falling apart. I'm coming.
No, he would politely warn, and then that would be it.
No, I'm coming.
Yeah, that's it.
I will be on your rear wing in about minus 1 lap, and then I'm going to
Yes.
overtake you. So just be prepared.
Yes. I plan to open my rear wing in T-minus 30 seconds. I have 30 kilometers of DRS on you. Watch out, I'm coming to you. Just warning you.
That's amazing. Anyways, we've talked about everybody, but again, props to Lando. He also got driver of the day. He also got fastest lap.
Popularity contest. Sorry.
Thank you. I'm glad a Lando Norris fan could say that because when I said that morning, I was attacked. You're just saying that because Max isn't winning it. No, I'm saying it because it's true. Max won 7 races at the beginning of the year, maybe won 1 driver of the day, if that. It's who's your favorite driver, basically. Because even when Max has bad races, which isn't that often, I still vote for Max. So the same is said by Lando fans, and because Max wins so much, nobody likes Max, or Lewis when he was winning a lot. So I guess, I don't know, popularity contest.
Hey,
until Lando, and then he'll be the least favorite again.
Yeah. Hey, at least it's not like Formula E used to be, where they had fan boost. All right.
Oh my god.
Formula E.
That's crazy.
Yeah, at
they
least
had
it was
that
useless.
Formula One.
Like fan boost did next to nothing. It was cool, but it didn't do much.
That's
Man,
awesome.
fan control.
It would be like,
One.
who would always get it? It would be like Felipe Massa, who is in a bad car, and then after that, somebody else would always get it. De Vries, Van Dorn. It was always like the same 2 or 3 drivers would get fan boost.
Yeah.
It'd be funny if F1 had almost like an all-star race, like how NASCAR does, because in the all-star race, what they used to do is the fans could vote to flip the field, like to last person in last goes to first, and then it like flips that way. It was the all-star race is not for the championship. It's all they run for $1 million. It's all like a cash deal. So, like, when you saying the push-to-pass thing the fans could do, I was like, the first thing I thought, I was like, oh, if the fans had control on anything in F1, that would be fun.
Yeah. What we need is some fan-controlled Formula One.
Fan-controlled team orders.
Oh, yes. That would be so fun. That would be so fun.
It'd be great.
That'd be amazing.
It's like the F1 video game in real life. It's like...
Literally.
Literally.
My gosh.
Last little mention before we do predictions for Monza. Race number 200 for Max Verstappen, 108th podium, which is over 50%. So just throwing that out there. He will have podiums. He will have more wins this year. Just y'all wait. I have confidence. Steven had an incredible week in fantasy with more than 200 points because of Lando Norris. I will never abandon my man. So I'm sticking with.
Did.
I will.
Me. What?
Jason, do you have Max on your team?
No, I don't think he does.
I don't think so. No.
I think you have both of the Mercedes drivers, which is crazy. But
yeah, they looked really good.
Yeah, fair enough.
Let's hope it stays that way.
Yeah.
I scored. Where was I in the points? I didn't.
You were third. I was fourth. This weekend.
I thought he was last.
Oh.
No. I don't know what happened to me. I did change out my team, but you know.
Dump Ferrari.
We'll see for next week. With that, podium predictions for Monza.
Well, that being said, now I'll go into why my changes are made. So I opted out for Max Verstappen. I took Fat Max off my fantasy, and now I have Lando.
Fat Max? Is that what you just said?
No, did I? I don't think I did.
Oh, I couldn't tell if you said fat or fast.
No. So I switched Max for Lando. So in accordance to that, in accordance to what I believe in my fantasy roster, I'm going to go Lando P1. He's going to go back-to-back. I have Oscar P2. And then P3 is a bit of a toss-up to me, but I think it's going to be Max. I think Max will be P3. Even though Charles is on a 2-race streak of P3 finishes, but we'll see.
Yeah, I like that. I think I'd probably go the same thing, honestly. Well,
I think it's respectable top 3.
Yeah, I think I'd go Lando, Piastri, Max. I think. Yeah.
God, this is so hard.
It's okay. Max doesn't have to win. It's okay.
I'm trying to think of the last high-speed race, and Mercedes is definitely lacking top speed. I remember Lewis saying that during Belgium.
Yeah.
So probably not but that was a Mercedes win too. Belgium, they finished 1-2 until the weight issue.
Well, see, there
Yeah.
you go.
So
There's the
I'm
caveat
like,
there.
And Ferrari always turn up the engines. Like last year, they tried. They almost.
They're always gonna try and do their very, very best at Monza. Use up as much.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
why I'm thinking. I don't know, Marina. Do you want to go first?
You go.
We all know what you're gonna say, Jason. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a Ferrari win. They're kind of struggling, so I think it's gonna be Piastri.
Wow.
Leclerc and Sainz.
What happened to Lando?
Dang.
What happened to
Lando
Max?
and Max are gonna wreck out.
Yeah, they're gonna fight for fourth and pull a 2021 and crash out.
Okay, so call me crazy, but I think Oscar wins.
Wow.
Max second. And
go on.
Charles third.
Yes.
Now, so you also think that what's going to happen to Lando here?
I think Lando's going to crash with George.
Oh.
I wouldn't be surprised.
All right.
Fellow countrymen.
I am overtaking you.
No.
No.
Quote of the day.
Quote of the day.
Simply lovely.
Max Verstappen.
Thank you. So it's definitely not Lando Norris. It is not his quote to say. It is Max.
I almost said Lando because I thought you were going to pull a trick and be like, no, Lando said that today.
No, that's Max's quote. That's Max's saying. But
okay.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We will be back next week, Mondays 11:30 Eastern Time. As always, in between now and then, make sure to check out our TikTok and our Instagram at Lights Out Latest. Tech Tuesday, WAG Wednesday, Throwback Thursday, Fun Fact Friday, the occasional man on the street, and the predictions you just listened to will be up there all week long. Bye, guys.
See ya.